B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach. This week's Parsha is VaYishlach. It was the yard side of one of the great Hasidic Rebbes that's buried in Safat, the Bat Ayin, a great Kabbalist, and he's buried right near where all the holy rabbis, the Ramak is. I was actually at his kever. The Zechut was his yard side. He's one of those that say, just like the Zer Shimshon, he says, if you learn my Torah, great miracles and segulas happen. So Hashem should help all of Klal Yisrael. In his Zechus, he says a beautiful parsha. He says, the parsha says Hashem, Yaakov sent messengers to Esav because this whole parsha is again the battle between good and evil. He brings down Kabbalistically, Yacov Avinu is Yisrael, which is the conscience of the world, right? The Yetzer HaTov. And Esav is the manifestation of evil, the Yetzer Hara. And actually it's brought down in the Zohar, and the Arizal says that actually part of his neshama was from the Nachash. He's like a Gilgul of the Nachash, and Esav is. He's the Zohar Moshel Nachash, whatever that means. But he says that that Yaakov Avinu battled the archangel of Esav, right? And then he got hurt actually, right? He got hit in his...
That angel was Satan?
Yeah, that was the Sarah Shal Esav. So he says that we know everything in this world, right? Obviously, we always have this vasfase, this
temptation,
this temptation that wants to make us to do sin. That's the Yetzer Hara. Where does the Yetzer Hara, his energy in the higher heavens, come from? From Sarah Shal Esav, right? Just like our soul is connected to a second soul, whatever, that's a deep Kabbalistic idea. That was the whole meaning of last week's parsha. The Nefesh HaChaim brings from the Zohar that Yaakov saw the ladder going up and down because really
You just saw different levels of his neshama.
Yeah, different. Exactly. We're connected to the heavens. Everything we do has ramifications for the entire world. So he says the place where the Satan and the Yetzer Hara gets its energy is from this archangel of Esav. And what is its main spice, its main energy that wants to corrupt us? Through being porub, through being brazen, chutzpahdik, azus, and gaiva. And it's very important to know that the Ben Ish Chai says also, it says in this week's parsha, 400 soldiers were accompanying Esav.
They were armed.
Exactly. The Ben Ish Chai brings from the Arizal and the Kabbalist that these 400 angels from Al Pi Sod, Al Pi Nister, it's telling us that the Yetzer Hara, and it's very scary when you think about this, has 400 different ways to try to trick you and make you corrupt. That's why it's so important that what we're doing tonight together, we're learning Torah. The only antidote for it is learning the Torah. Now, it's very important that what the Bat Ayin is trying to bring out is that just like the crown jewel, the greatest of all attributes is to be humble. The hallmark and the way the Yetzer Hara gets us to sin is when we have arrogance, ego, ga'ava, and we're shameless, you understand? And that was, he explains very beautifully that was actually the struggle between, it says that Yaakov and the angel of Esav were fighting the whole night. It was saying that this was actually the Yetzer Hara trying to convince Yaakov, hey, you're the greatest of all the forefathers. Abraham had corrupt kids, right? He had Yishmael. Yitzchak didn't have good kids, Esav. But he was trying to make Yaakov feel superior to everybody else and have gaiva. And he says that Ish, Vayavek Ish imu, right? Ish is milashon yesh. So a person has to know everything we're blessed with, if it's health, wealth, wisdom, every gift that Hashem gave us is a gift. We don't deserve credit. Who deserves credit? He says this fight was not a physical fight. It was a spiritual fight. This Sarah Shal Esav was trying to get Yaakov to join his group. The group of the haughty, arrogant people that have no shame, are poru, are azut panim. And he brings something here very, very important. He says, how does the Yetzer Hara begin? What's the beginning of the end? How did Yetzer Hara make you start to become Bal Gaiva. This the Chazon Ish also writes in his Igeret. My Rebbe Rabbi Ben David would always talk about this. The Avi Avot HaTumah is eating too much. Because it says in the Torah, in Devarim chapter, I think it's Parshas Devarim, Sefer Devarim, Perek Chet, Pasuk Yud Bet through Yud Gimel, you're going to eat too much, and you're going to become oversatiated, and then you're going to forget Hashem. So he says a Sadiq, Shlomo Melech, eats as much as he eats. So this gluttony and craving and lust and this craving for unhealthy food and overindulgence is the beginning of the end. That's why the way Chazal, 100 times a day, we have to say a bracha. Hopefully, it tries to stop this. But when and by the way, Rav Tzadok HaKohen, again, Al Pi Sod, what was the first mitzvah that led us to all the corruption in the world and to reject Hashem? When Adam ate from the forbidden food. We have to know. Peliyot says, Shad Milchama, Shad Achila. So when a person, not for health reasons, not for medical reasons, is just wining and dining with sharab and kebab for wine and steak every night and eats twice as what he needs, that I deserve it, right? That already your body is becoming glutton, overindulgent, and this was the ultimate internal fight between Yaakov and the angel. So we have to know that what the Bas Ayin explains is that the Satan was trying to trick Yaakov to join Esav. Just like Esav was an obnoxious, narcissistic, egotistic person, the Yetzer Hara in this fight that they had the whole night, and Baruch Hashem, Yaakov run. Because Yaakov realized that Baruch Hashem, his 12 beautiful children, right? From Reuven, by the way, it's Reuven's Yortzeit today. The Shevet Reuven, the son of Yaakov, it was his Yortzeit today. Yud Dalet Kislev. So from the Reuven, which was his firstborn, to Yehuda, which is the father of Mashiach, and Yosef and the Kohanim, all these gifts that Yaakov had, Baruch Hashem, a beautiful family, a lot of wealth, a lot of things. Baruch Hashem, Yaakov Avinu prevailed, because when it gets to your head, and I tell you this, it's so scary. In our Baruch Hashem, it's so easy to become, when you have people build houses that have rooms they're never going to use to show off, right? They throw parties, half the food gets thrown away just to show off, right? This is ga'ava. Once you're in that type of mode to try to show off and you think you're more superior than other people and you become snobby and look down upon people, you have lost the battle, internal battle. But that's the battle that Yaakov Avinu won. Because everything we have to use it and not abuse it, right? The Satan's dream and goal in this battle was to get Yaakov to become a Bal Gaiva, to become a narcissistic, egotistic, full of vanity and self-worship and have unkosher pride. But Baruch Hashem, it says the Bas Ayin brings the beautiful Gemara. Hashem loves us. It says in the Gemara in Chulin, based on the pasuk in Dvarim Perek Zayin, Hama'at mikol amim. Baruch Hashem, opposite to the non-Jewish leaders, whenever Hashem gave greatness to Abraham, he says, Anochi Afar ve'efer, right? I'm as worthless as dust and ashes. To David has said, Anochi tolat velo ish.
What does it mean?
He says, I'm just like a worm. I'm not even like a person.
Oh, okay.
To Moshe and Aaron, they said, Anachnu ma, we're nothing. So Baruch Hashem shall help us that, like we said, we should always know the credit goes to Hashem. We're undeserving. It's all a great gift.
It's all favor from Hashem.
It's all favor from Hashem, and that's how we win the Yetzer Hara, when we stay humble and obedient and grateful to Hashem. Amen.